Hello and thank you for popping by. My name is Julia and this video is for us who feel a bit intimidated by watercolor and want that watercolor look but with more control. I stamped this flower and leaves in black archival ink on watercolor paper so it will withstand all the water I will put it through. I intend to use my watercolor markers from Ecoline. Me and the markers aren't the best of friends, but when I put down the color on a plastic sheet and use clean water first, I feel a sense of control. When I put color on wet paper, I haven't found a way to use them directly to paper. But maybe that's me being cheap when I buy paper. I put down clean water and use a small round brush to pick the color up and put it on my flower. When I color leaves in general, I always use a yellow along with a few green shades. The yellow partner up with the green. And even when the yellow just peeks through, it brings dimension and depth to the leaves. It's time for the background, and I'm using an easy way to achieve a watercolor look without losing that beloved control. I use post-it tape to mask little squares where I'm going to put down my watercolor markers. Again, from that laminated piece of plastic as a palette. To secure the squares, I also mask the squares I'm working on to eliminate a watercolor disaster. I put down clean water into the square and pick up color with a brush and just put it down on my wet paper. For every square I pick two colors and work random when I put down one color in one corner and another in the opposite corner. It's fun to color this way and I get a nice watercolor background without the mess and without me having any skills at all. I just put down colors, wet on wet, and wait for that lovely reveal when I get to unmask my background and see how it all turned out. I work my way through all the colors and alternate between putting down the marker on my palette and transferring that color to my masked squares. While I'm doing this easy watercoloring, I want to thank you for watching my video and remind you, if you like what I do, to hit the subscribe button or leave a comment telling me what you'd like me to do next. When it's time to unmask, reveal my background, I get fantastic rectangles with different colors, a background that fits most projects. But I have my flowers. Still I feel like something is missing. I'm making a card just because to my mother-in-law. I have these scrap strips of watercolor paper and take my scoring tool scoring it random and changing it up, the length and how far between, totally random. I want to make the strips look like wood, so random works fine. After scoring my strips, I pull out 2 colors of Distress Oxides, weathered wood and walnut stain. I put down weathered wood on the whole strips, and then I go around the edges and over the scorings I made with walnut stain until I'm happy. Now I'm trying to figure out how the card is going to be put together. I want a white stripe of paper over the background as an anchor to the wood, the flowers and the word grandma in Swedish. I cut down my background to a size that fit my envelope, and I cut the word grandma, farmor, 5 times and glue them together with a black die cut at the top for a stacked, chunky look with a lot of dimension. I stamp in black to grandma, and then I decided that the wood strips were too light and went over the edges with the Distress Oxide black soot. Then I glue my strip that says in Swedish to or from grandma, and glue those flowers, leaves and wood strips down at the bottom of my background. And if you know me, this isn't a surprise. I cut a slightly bigger piece of black cardstock to frame and pull my card together. I hope I've given you some inspiration to pull out those watercolors and make something beautiful. Don't miss my next video with the 2-side spread in my big art journal. See you soon.